Well, if there's any true benevolent beings that are still listening to this channel, take a look at the last comment left by, his name starts with a food that some of you might eat or have eaten in your lifetime. That's what his first name starts with. Now, that particular dead whore, by the way, that's on the last video called the Zieglers, the short video link, video or recording that I did. That's where that comment is at. If you want to take a look at it, that particular dead whore most likely either works for the CIA or the FBI. Last year, he had a habit of raping my videos, cropping them, and then making mockeries, little mockeries out of them. And he also does it with other TIs as well. If you go to his channel, if you're willing to do that, you can see the TIs that he's cropped their videos against the revocation of their consent and made mockeries out of them. Now, I left that fucking whore, that dead whore, a comment from the notifications listing. And that comment was immediately deleted. So I had to actually go to the video to then leave another comment. Now, on all of my recordings, since I've started doing changed over to doing just recordings on this channel, that whore has not bothered himself, at least that I can see, with any of the recordings that I've done, probably because I'm not showing my face. And until I posted the video link for the Zieglers. Now, why would a dead whore who hasn't made any kind of comments, retarded, nasty comments on any of the other recordings, except for the video posting of the one I did with that short video link? Why would he bother? What's up his ass? Well, I'm sure we can all, envision what's up his ass. Most of them are tranny whores. Anyways, moving right along. If you take a gander at his page, you'll see the TIs that he crops videos and makes mockeries of. He's just such a special window licker. He is just such a special window licker. Anyway, moving on. That wasn't the intent of this recording. I'm going to try and speak as quickly as I can. I know sometimes for me that's a challenge, depending on how much they're forcibly trying to torture me neurologically. I'm sure it's probably not fun for any true benevolent being listening. Now, I can see, based on just recent happenings and their recent forced nastiness, these bitches are super fucking scared. Just a moment. Somebody, I think, is coming to the front door.
Okay, Amy, I'm out of here.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I'll see you later.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so, since the roommate's voice is on the recording, I do not consent to any forced, especially undisclosed magic of any kind in any form from any source in existence, including any originating from the roommate, whose name starts with M and whose last name starts with S. At this living at the same address that I am. I do not, they're trying to choke me right now, is what they're trying to do. So I do not consent to any forced magic of any kind in any form from any source in existence. Most especially as undisclosed, forced as a result of the voice that was the male voice that was just caught on video. And I will return it. Now, moving on. Unfortunately, I do have to stop and I do have to do revocations of consent because I don't, as nice as he is, I am just not able to trust anyone. And there are a couple of strange happenings that have already occurred with that one that lead me to believe he is also most likely not organically just there, right? So moving on again. Now, most of you, I don't know how you feel about what many people call Mother Earth. I think at one time this planet did house a benevolent being, a large planetary being. At one point, however, due to my communications with it to this date, its actions towards me, and its also lack of actions towards me, I do not see this planet as a benevolent being. Based on my communications, I see it as a parasitic entity that is merged with AI. And once I started asking harder, more logical questions, especially about its goal for humanity, and the reason for the forced torture. At that time, I wasn't calling them dead parasitic entities. I was just calling them malevolence, demons, entities. And I don't think that entity expected me to still be talking, as that communication was back in 2015. So it was quite frank about its goal for humanity, and I told that entity that I was not in alignment with that, and I would not participate in that, and I would not help it, and I was not going to go along, and I would not submit my will to it. I would not, and I will not, and I will never. That entity is not a benevolent being. That is a parasite. Now, it may be that there is a true benevolent Mother Earth. Now, either that true benevolent being is trapped within the planet. I guess that's possible. Or that planet was, I'm going to say this in like air quotes, consumed, parasitized, cannibalized. And I would say that probably occurred, well, I don't know. It could have happened before the fall, and that parasite managed to get up to those higher dimensions, or it was still a benevolent being and then was invaded by parasites, and then once the planet fell, that was such a trauma that maybe it just couldn't, maybe that being just could not recover. I don't know. but I just know that the entity that has communicated, presented itself originally as Mother Earth, and then about 6 months later did an entire 360, or maybe you'd call it a 180, and showed me that it was not a benevolent being and that it was mixed with AI. So I know it to be a parasite within the planet. And I know that it, for about 5 or 6 months, it showed me a veneer of trying to be some kind of a benevolent being. However, the entire time, for the majority of that time, I would say the whole love and light and, positive, loving experience only lasted about a month, month and a half before it really started to start distancing itself, started becoming more cold. When it realized I wasn't going to submit my will. That's when it realized. Once it realized I was not going to submit my will to it, is when things got real nasty. And so I don't know if any of you have taken the time to have that conversation or try and communicate with the entity within the planet. Just know that it will show you the veneer first. It's going to try and throw you off. It's going to try and deceive you and con you. It's going to try and get you to believe that it's, something that it isn't, because it's parasite. It doesn't want you knowing that it's raping you. It doesn't want you knowing that it's feeding off of you. It doesn't want you knowing that it's trying to then murder you. It's trying to rape your stuff and then cannibalize. Now, if you take a look around the planet, much of this planet is extremely beautiful. It's a beautiful planet. It is. How do you think that it is still that way with a parasite within it? How do you think that happens? What does manure do to a field? Right? What does manure do to plants? From my perception of it, what we are seeing is the beauty that this planet is, in contrast to the massive atrocity and horror and suffering that has been forced on every civilization in many timelines here. But yet the planet is still beautiful, and the planet doesn't seem to show, at least too many places, doesn't seem to show signs of that kind of trauma and that kind of abuse. So for the planet to continue to look that way, that tells me that that's the effect that I'm seeing. That's all, in my opinion, or in my perception, I'll say, what I'm looking at is the cannibalization of every prior civilization here. Especially as they build cities on top of cities, on top of cities, on top of cities in every timeline. There are like how many bodies of how many civilizations are rotting underground. Right? Okay, so I understand and have respect for those who do not perceive this planet in that way, and that they might hold more to classic views of this planet, and that's fine. I still would suggest taking the time to have that communication, or try and communicate with the planet itself, whatever you think that is. So I think it's wise, especially what we have being forced on this planet, to be doing that. That way you would also be doing your due diligence in trying to protect yourself from being raped from a larger parasite that's obviously not disclosing to any of the inhabitants here that it's a parasite. It just expects your undying devotion until it goes to rape you of your, try to rape you of your power, will, and energy. And it does that to try and get into other places that it does not belong. So I think, it would still be wise to do that. And, if you disagree, we can agree to disagree. That's fine. I've had my communications with it. I do not trust that fucking thing. It's a creature, whatever it is, it's an abhorrent thing. So once it told me what its goal for humanity was I quickly distanced myself and I did not communicate with it further. It has, however, tried to get its proxies to continue to try to murder me in many, many different ways. And most of it, if not all, are forced lies, cons, and deceit via frequency, and then via interference in my astral body. So these parasitic dead entities don't, like when they start screwing with your astral body, they're not sending you a memo telling you how they're fucking with you, telling you what they're doing to your astral body to cause you pain. Right, they're not disclosing that information because they're dead and they're insane and they're rabid. So because they don't disclose any of that, it's up to us to figure out in whatever moment that they're fucking torturing to figure out what it is that they're trying to do with the technology. Now, I've figured out some stuff, but there's some stuff I haven't quite figured out what it is they're fucking doing when they start zapping me. So I'm just saying, it can be a little challenging, especially when they're doing this 24/7. So I've done the best I can, trying to figure out which zaps mean what, right? Like that's, these are dead entities who are insane. And it's definitely been a challenge. But as I've refused consent to all of those dead entities, the parasite within the planet, the universe itself, the reptilians, the Illuminati, and all their fucking whores and their footstools and their proxies, I've refused consent for all of that. They're using technology to forcibly obstruct and regress universal laws and universal law correction. So therefore, I am justified and in the right when I am taking back everything that has been fucking raped from me against the full revocation of my consent for about 11 years now, every day, all day. So I don't feel bad about it, and I'm gonna run over their forced lies, cons, and deceit because I fucking know better. Because I know my being. Because I know my own emotions and my own thoughts. And they have really tried to do some fuckery. I'll just say that. They've really tried to do some fuckery. Some fuckery that should, that is so abhorrent that I don't even want to, once again, I don't even want to detail it here. But these bitches should not be in existence anywhere. They should not be in any kind of a manifested creation. At all. Period. I mean, at the very least, entropy. At the most, just totally non-existent altogether. Because they're dead. Number one, they're dead already. Number two, they're parasites. There is nothing redeeming that's about them that's like going to go back to source. They're already dead parasites. They're dead entities, and look at what they forced here. Like they're parasites. They shouldn't even be in this place to begin with. They shouldn't be in existence. They're an aberrance. They're a fuck up. They're a universe fuck up. That's a large fuck up. So they shouldn't even be here. Now, so I make it a point, as challenging as it sometimes is, especially when they're forcing specific frequencies or piggybacking certain frequencies onto my own. It is challenging sometimes to force out the lies, cons, and deceptions and the forced false emotions that they're trying to force, especially when they have very rabid, insane, dead creatures forcibly fucking attached to me, who are trying to obstruct me from moving their violations to universal laws, and who are trying to obstruct, they're trying to stall. They're trying to distract. They're trying to basically, they're trying to stop any true, alive, benevolent being from embodying truth because they don't want the frequency fence to be shut off. And obviously, they're extremely they're in massive fear of universal laws because they would instantaneously disintegrate. They would burn where they stand. So, because I know my being, and because I have, I've done the majority of my inner work prior, or at least in the few years before they started to get nastier. It takes time to do, and it sucks. But I have to run their shit over. There's like, it sucks that it's such a process that I have to spend so much time trying to really work on running over their fuckery. They shouldn't be connected to me. They're parasites, for fuck's sake. They're dead. And they're trying to torture, rape, and murder benevolent beings here. That's also your indication that the planetary parasite doesn't want evidence, breathing evidence. Oh, it'll let you get so far in your spiritual growth, in your spiritual learning, to only then, once you reach a certain point, though, and you're not falling for the lies and the gatekeepers and all of that, and you start really searching for the truth and really expanding your psychic abilities, right? That's when the parasite, the planetary parasite, is either notified or triggered, and then that's when it sends out its lackeys, and they're like, basically what it is what they try to do is rape, try to rape the benevolence. They try to rape the gift, skills, and abilities, the life force, the frequency and vibration, and then they turn right back around and then try to murder the being. They try to take the being out. Because we would, those who've done their inner work, start to figure out what the truth is. And part of my intention in doing this recording is, again, mentioning the frequency fence that is around this planet. This parasitic entity within this planet has been using along with its proxies, has been using the artificial frequency fence to record, to hold, to attain what it's raped. To then, I don't know if the fence somehow provides an artificial frequency field that allows the planet to, if it's gonna up and move and try to get into a higher dimension or whatever, that it wears, that it's using the artificial frequency fence to wear it's like like it could be that it's like an artificial frequency barrier. Now, I don't know for sure, but my feeling is that it uses the artificial frequency fence in some kind of way like that. The frequency fence around this planet is very ancient. The AI system is ancient. Now, I've questioned where it came from, and I still have not come to any kind of conclusive fact or truth or answer about it. I kind of lean towards the universe itself, either making it or inhabitants from like a time that was so long ago and so ancient that, and probably not even in this sector of this galaxy, like, this could have been from anywhere in the universe, that in where that kind of technology was developed and then brought here. So I don't know, but I do know here it's an abomination. And it's being used to force abomination. And the fact that the universe itself is not corrected this planetary parasite. Like, I have a hard time believing that the universe itself doesn't know what the fuck this planetary parasite is fucking doing. Like, I just don't, I don't see how that would be a thing. So I think it does know. And it seems to me that the universe itself isn't doing dick about any of it. So either the universe itself is corrupt and complicit, or just so dumb. So, and again, if it's the universe itself choosing or deciding it's trying to favor dead parasitic entities over alive vibrating beings, that kind of tells me that the universe has been doing the nasty for a long fucking time. And it's trying to not risk any true benevolent beings from finding out that it's been doing the dirty for probably many millennia. Because that's going to mean a whole something else. So it's almost like the universe itself is supporting the planetary parasite. Like they're in cahoots, right? Like the universe itself like knows what the fucking deal is and know what it's doing. And it either just turns a blind eye or it fucking helps with obstruction and things like that of universal laws. So I'm not saying the latter is more. I mean, I do think that it's a planetary parasite. I do, and from what it's told me is also why I know it's a parasite. However, since others do not know or may not have had those kinds of communications, those beings will still see what I've just said as subjective or, something else. So, and that's fine. Like I said, I still encourage you to have your own communications with it so you can make the determination for yourself and decide whether you are in alignment with its goal for humanity. And where it plans on going. And why is it continuing to obstruct true benevolent beings from coming into their full capacities? And why it has dead parasitic entities trying to murder, torture, and harm us. Right? Those are huge red flags. They are. from where I'm standing, my vantage point, those are huge red flags. So let's see. I'm sorry. One moment. I'm trying to figure out where I was. What other points that I wanted to bring light to. They sure do seem really worried about this whole frequency fence ever since I posted that video. And actually, I've posted stuff about the frequency fence a few videos or recordings back. But especially with the more recent one, their degree of frenzy has amplified. And especially with, I'm seeing the correlation to some degree on what's being forced in other places. For example, look at the homelessness problem. Look at all the inflation, cost of living, and gas prices. How many people are being forced out of their homes, and how the percentage of homelessness is raising exponentially, especially here in the US. And how there's really not, there doesn't seem to be really any kind of a difference between what used to be the middle class and the poor. And what they're, if you've paid any attention to what they're doing with Agenda 20, Agenda 30, or Agenda 21 rather, in addition to, like, just look at the president, right? Okay, now there's, if you don't know, there's a clone of him, and then there's the, what looks to be the real one that is so fucking out of it, they probably really have to give that one an EpiPen and an adrenaline shot just to get him to come to the podium. But the other one that seems real with it, that's the clone. The demonic looking one. And they're, the planetary parasite's not gonna, that's the biggest, or part of the reason for the cloning, is the parasite is trying to do things just like the reptilians in a removed fashion. So it can try and say later that it didn't have anything to do with it, or it didn't participate, or try to say that it didn't participate in those things directly, when really they're the ones fucking ordering it, orchestrating it, getting the lackeys to do it. And they've been doing this shit a long fucking time. A long time. Many civilizations. They've been doing the cloning. They use the clones to rape. And as I've stated in prior recordings, they use the clones for many different things. Many different things. They view the clones as throwaways. So they use the clones as a tool. And they use that tool for many different things. And again, that's just one more abhorrent, vile thing that's being forced here that should not be. How is it for this many millennia that dead parasitic entities are animated and using technology that is not allowed in this universe to force what it is that they're forcing? Right? Like, at some point, you really got to start looking at bigger questions and looking at the whys of things. Why there's been no benevolent intervention. Why they're using that kind of technology here and using it to forcibly torture, rape, and harm benevolent beings. Like, do you see the ones running around in politics, or the CEOs of companies who are extremely evil, psychopathic? I mean, do you see them being tortured? and raped with frequency weaponry, right? Like the most evil motherfuckers, they don't really seem to bother because they're doing what they want them to do. It's the true benevolent beings that start catching on. I'm sorry, one moment. They're really trying to screw with they're trying to interfere with my throat. Again, it's called logic. Like, take a look at the most evil motherfuckers on the planet that are just running around, right? Are they getting tortured with frequency weaponry? Are they getting hit with voice of skull? Now, they're probably being cloned. They're probably being cloned out because they take they seem to have a thing for cloning the nastiest of the nasty, so they can try to bring them forward again in whatever next whatever timeline that they're trying to plan. So I'm just saying, you have to once again come back to why are they forcing this on benevolent beings who just want to help animals, and who are trying to help other humans. That's ridiculous. That's ludicrous to want to forcibly torture and rape and harm benevolent beings who want to do those things, right? This is an inverted time loop matrix. It must be imploded. It's been here for a very long time. They've been obstructing universal laws for a very long time, as well as universal law correction. It's got to fucking stop. This universe is fucking bonkers. If the universe was benevolent, or at least neutral, it would have assisted. It would have been assisting here. And everything that I've moved to universal laws, it would have backed me. It would have upheld those actions and not allowed any of those actions to be forcibly regressed via technology. And so part of my intent also in this recording is I know that there are those who would have a very hard time seeing the full truth of this place, of the entities that have been, in quotes, running it. Some of the bigger aspects, like the parasite within the planet, right? There are some beings out there who just are not ready or in a place that they can look at what's that they're not in a place where they can look at what's been said and really honestly evaluate what's been said with their discernment and their intuition without being fucking triggered and without becoming extremely angry and upset and betrayed. They are not ready to look at those things. They are still in a place where they're really still wanting to have hope and faith and, and really still believing that, that things will work out. And once again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I do bring these things, I do make light of these things because I see where that parasite, I can see what it's been doing for all these fucking timelines and civilizations. And I'm seeing it con a whole other civilization. And it's not disclosing the truth. It just sends out its fucking proxy lackeys to do the nasty for it. Like, it's trying to rape everybody's stuff. And then trying to, from what I've perceived of it, just trying to move on. Because this is in air quotes, food here is almost gone. It's fractured and fragmented so many beings here. That also brings into question the true benevolent creator. My perception of the true benevolent creator is much different than most who read the Bible or grew up with more classic religious pictures of the creator that have been given in other religious texts. Because of what's been forcibly shown to me, I had to reevaluate how I perceive the true benevolent creator. And then in addition to that, there's still, I would say, some uncertainty there, some confusion there, especially since the creator's been MIA. So I'm a bit reluctant to, I think I've done it in one other recording where I kind of went over my perception of it. I don't necessarily know I want to do that now. Because in addition to that, I don't want to bring others down. For me personally, the creator has been MIA. I don't know about the rest of you. I mean, I would hope the rest of any other true benevolent being listening to these recordings, I hope you've been trying to reach the true benevolent creator. And I hope that you have reached him, and I hope that he is assisting you. You know, maybe he just doesn't like me, right? Like, fuck. Maybe it's a matter of you just can't like everybody in existence, right? I don't know if that's indeed the exact reason. But I would really hope that some of you out there are truly communicating with the true benevolent creator. And or at least, I'm so sorry, they are trying to choke me right now. My apologies for the interruption. I hope that you're the true benevolent beings that might be listening to these recordings are still trying to reach the true Father. And I hope that he is assisting you or guiding you or providing answers. My perceptions of things is very stark and severe and not positive. And there's a couple of details that I do have, but I don't have enough details to make a whole picture. And so trying to state what I do have as a full truth would not be accurate, specifically about that topic, would not be necessarily accurate or fair to be repeating to others. And I do hope that others are trying to reach out to the true, benevolent, authentic creator for assistance and to intervene here, because it is greatly needed. So I'm sorry, just a moment. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. I would say that is still extremely important. With as frenzied as they're becoming now, I don't know if any of you are actually noticing outward physical signs of that occurring, or in your own individual realities, if you're seeing that being a thing, especially as how, places and things are sometimes interconnected. And just in like the recording before the last one about the frequency fence, I still think it's extremely wise to be screaming. I hope benevolent beings don't stop doing that, because we do need assistance. There does need to be intervention. There shouldn't be dead parasitic entities animated, running amok here with technology that is not allowed in this universe. That should not be a thing. And the planetary, if there were a true benevolent planetary being, I do not think that being would be allowing animated dead parasites to be running amok here, torturing and raping and trying to harm benevolent beings. I don't think that would be a thing. And I don't think there's a lot of things that would be different. And I think we really need to honestly look at what's being forced here, look at the facts, use our logic and critical thinking to analyze and perceive and intuit the actual truth of things here. And hopefully those beings are strong enough that when they see the actual truth of things, that they are strong enough to then continue to move forward and act accordingly and come from a place of strength, standing in their power and authority. And it doesn't matter I'm so sorry about, I'm having issues with my throat. And it's not me having those issues, it's those are being forced. To really, where was I at? I'm sorry. No matter how large or small the parasite is, a parasite is still a parasite. And from all of my, from what I now know, over the last 11 years, I can see the planetary parasite for what it is. I can see what it's been doing here. And I can see how it's been doing it. And it's abhorrent. And then I can see the lack of assistance from the universe itself. And I'm not seeing any true benevolent intervention. And I'm getting a very distinct, nasty fuckery vibe and parasitic vibe and malevolent vibe from all the entities, this whole entire place, outside of this place, the way this place is run, the universe itself, and how it seems to be assisting. I'm just not getting good vibes about any of it. I'm sure not. Not at all. So again, my there are certain things that I state that are very severe. Because I've had some amount of experience with those things. And it is not my intent to scare or do any kind of fear-mongering or anything like that. What I'm trying to do is tell any remaining true benevolent beings here what the fuck is going on. So you can try and save yourselves. Right? If it's indeed, if you too find out that the entity within the planet is a fucking parasite, what are you going to do about it? And you realize what its goal for humanity is, and then you realize that you're not fucking down for that shit. That you're not in alignment with it. Like, you've been living on this planet for how long? That's a shock for most people, if not all. So it's coming to terms with that. It's being true benevolent beings here coming to terms with the fact that this is a parasite, that they've been on a very old parasite for a very long time, for many civilizations and timelines and lifetimes, and to find out that this parasite has just been raping them the whole fucking time, and is now trying to keep what it's raped from them and just fucking take off. And try to get those beings somehow into the AI system. Right? Like, it's almost like I'm seeing it for some kind of a, through sci-fi glasses. I mean, this is what I'm seeing is very, like, again, the two words I normally use is abhorrent and vile. And unfortunately, it seems to be turning out that it's really like that. Do I want to try and tell other true benevolent beings this? No, not really. But do I want to see those same true benevolent beings raped and conned and deceived? When they could be, if they knew the truth, they could try and get themselves out of it to try and save themselves. Right? If you had a chance to save yourself, I mean, or continue believing the lie, right? Which would you choose? would you have would you want someone to tell you the actual truth of things so you could then try and save yourself? Or would you just want someone to continue to lie to you because they don't think that you can handle it or whatever? This universe is at the end of a cycle, and this planetary parasite is trying to take off, and it's trying to finish up, trying to harvest anything that it's perceiving as or thinking whatever it's thinking is food, and it's using technology to do it, and then it's trying to do something else that if most humans knew would not be in alignment with. So it's up to you to discern how much of the truth frequency you are hearing, how much of the truth that you are just intuiting and discerning and receiving, maybe from other places like the energetic grid, the energetic field, the etheric grid, from your own past lifetimes, hear from your own experiences, knowledge, and wisdom, from your own knowingness, from your own heart, right? You have to determine that. I can see what it's been doing, and I don't agree. I think it's wrong on all levels for it to be doing that. And I think any true benevolent being left here needs to be doing whatever it is that they can to try and save themselves from this fucking parasite. As far as the universe goes, I know that's a larger matter. But if universal laws were triggered, that would also deal with a very corrupt universe. So I still stand by that universal laws must be enforced everywhere. On this planet, outside of this planet, devoid of all magic and devoid of all technology. Because it's going to take care of some shit. And there are very malevolent parasitic entities who have been obstructing true universal laws from being enforced here, and as well as the true correction being enforced here. So you really need to figure out where you're at with all of that, and how much you believe and how much you don't believe, how much of the truth you can see, how much you can't. Where there are questions, you need to be seeking the answers and not getting fleeced and not getting smoke blown up your ass by other entities who are claiming to have been around for a long time. If they've been around a long time, they're a parasite. And they've been assisting in the dirty, in the nasty. Because if they were really benevolent beings and they were really here to help, they would have helped already. So, use your logic and critical thinking. Ask your hard logical critical questions to those entities. Find out why they haven't been helping. And, all the things that I've kind of gone over in prior recordings. And if you are also seeing the same truths, you need to figure out where you're at with those things and what you're going to do about it, and how strong you're going to be, and how much you're going to fight, how much you're going to refuse consent, how much you're going to scream to get the fuck out of here, and how much you're going to scream and demand universal laws being forced, and how much you're going to Demand that animated dead entities be immediately removed from this manifested creation. So you'll have to figure those things out for yourself and figure out where you're at with all those things. But that's what I can that's how I am seeing things with specifically with the frequency fence and the entity that is this planet. And it's probably wise to also use your psychic gifts if they're active to be trying to view things outside of this place, to get a better idea of what the fuck's going on outside of this place. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. This is already pretty long, and they're really trying to choke me. And they've been trying to choke me for a while now. So I'm going to have to deal with some nasty and try to get it packing and send it off. Just do the best that you can. Be strong. Know that you're a powerful being. Stand in your full power and authority. Refuse consent. Continue to refuse consent for everything being forced on you and for everything that you think has been raped from you, and be taking back all your stuff from all technologies, especially the planetary parasite. Or if you don't see it as a planetary parasite, at least take it back from the technology, the artificial frequency fence, all clones, all astral realms and artificial realities. If you really look at it and how old everything is, you can see the interconnectedness of the artificial frequency fence, the astral realms, the artificial realities, with the technology. And if you know anything about those realms, then you can see how they're interconnected and how they've been running this shit. Their whole operation, how everything is interconnected. You can see how they've been running this fucking operation here. And it's vile. It's abhorrent. So take a look at it. Hopefully you're strong enough to look at the truth for what it is. Stay strong. Till next time.